What's up, everybody? Welcome back to racingnews.com and welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, the attention is going to be on Saratoga all weekend as the Belmont Stakes will be happening on Saturday, plus all the other great action going on at Saratoga Wednesday through Sunday. However, I did want to cover one race outside of Saratoga, and that is the Matt Winn Stakes on Sunday at Churchill Downs. So let's look at the Matt Winn Stakes Sunday at Churchill Downs. The reason why I wanted to cover it, I think there's some really nice horses in here. And I think they, some of these really probably should have been in the Belmont. I don't really know why they're not. Kind of a really conservative training job, if you ask me. So I'm going to put it up on the screen for you now. And like I said, I think this is a good field. Field of 7. It's race 8 on Sunday, June 8th at Churchill Downs. $400,000 the purse here. Field of 7. Let's go through them one by one, and let's try to pick out a winner here as we kind of go through what I think. I think there's some horses here that they're going to have a say in things, whether it be, Haskell, Jim Dandy, Travers, whatever, Pennsylvania Derby, something like that. So let's get it going. We'll get it going with the number 1 Gaming. And this has been a very disappointing horse. There's no doubt about it. At the 2-year-old, this was, it looked like one of Todd Pletcher's best horses, Bob Baffert's best horses, came up and broke the maiden and then won the Del Mar Futurity, a grade 1 event there before running second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But in that second, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, it was a pretty good race. Really, nothing to make you think, oh, this horse isn't that good. And then it has just not been a good time for this horse after that. Third in the Los Alamitos Futurity in the 2-year-old season where he was dull, really dull. 8th in the Southwest Stakes where he was worse. Second in the Hot Springs, got beat by Clever again handily. And then third in the Pat Day Mile, and he really wasn't threatening there. I don't think it's going to be much different for him here. I don't like this horse much. He's not for me. And it's sad because this is a horse, when he broke his maiden at Del Mar, I played him back in the Del Mar Futurity. I liked him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I really liked him in Los Al. And then after that, it's like, something's off with him. So I did like him at one time, just not anymore. All right, let's go to the number 2 Final Gambit next. This horse ran 4th in the Kentucky Derby despite a horrific start to the race. He was way, way behind everybody else in the Kentucky Derby. Made a big closing effort on the outside to get 4th. Now, the pace helped him. There's no doubt about it, but still, give him a lot of credit for getting up and almost hitting the board, like I said, getting 4th. So I don't know why he's not in the Belmont. I really think he should be. This distance is 1 1/16. I really think going longer is where you're going to see this horse at his best. He's really bred to go longer. Longer races have been better for him. So, I don't know if the 1.16 is really going to help. I don't really know if there's going to be a ton of pace in this race either. It could, with East Avenue in there, maybe Gaming goes a little bit. I don't know. We could maybe see a little bit, but still, I don't know why he's not in the Belmont. I think he would make a ton of sense there. He's here, though. You kind of could probably hear it in my voice. I really like this horse, but I just don't know about the distance. I'm a little bit worried about it. He also, even though he ran very well to run 4th last time out in the Kentucky Derby, he has no wins over the dirt. So that is still concerning until we see him actually win it. And that race was over a sloppy track, and maybe, on a dry track, I don't know. Maybe he's not quite as good. Still question marks. I'm not saying yes or no to any of those questions I just asked or whatever. I'm just saying, I don't know. We'll just have to see on him. But again, I don't know that 1 1/16 is really what he wants to do. All right, let's go to the number 3 Chunk of Gold next. That's another horse. A lot of people, have kind of like him. He's kind of a very consistent horse. Second at Turfway Park in the Leonidas Stakes, and then second in the Risen Star, second in the Louisiana Derby, and then he ran 9th in the Kentucky Derby. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those races. Him, like Final Gambit, he's still looking for that first win over the dirt. But like Final Gambit, he does have a nice, he has more races over the dirt that are pretty nice, but still a question mark here. I thought in the Kentucky Derby, he ran fine. He's just not that type. Like, he's not a Derby winner. He's not that type of horse, but I think he's here. I think he's going to get second or third once again. Honestly, I just think that's kind of who he is. All right, let's go to the number 4, Just a Fair Shake, as we keep going through these horses. He was second in the Sir Barton last time out at Pimlico, and that was after running second in the Tessio at Laurel Park as well. Won an allowance and won a maiden special weight at Laurel Park. So his 2 wins in 5 starts. I don't know. I think he's a cut below, guys. I really do. He was second in the Sir Barton, but he's a long ways back. The Tessio, yeah, decent enough, but the horse that wins the Tessio really didn't do running in the Preakness. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with him. Well, I'm not on the fence with him. I'm kind of just like, yeah, he needs to prove it against tougher horses. He's not for me in this one. The number 5 is Burnham Square. This is another one. I don't know. I feel like the Belmont Stakes would have made a lot of sense for this horse. He won the Holy Bull Stakes. He was fourth in the Fountain of Youth. He did not run well in the Fountain of Youth. I have no excuse for him there either. He won the Bluegrass. He was 6th in the Kentucky Derby, and there's all kinds of excuses for him there. He did not have a clean trip. He did not have a clear, he got stopped, bad, and I don't think he was going to win. I'm not sure he may not have finished like 4th in that race, though. I sure would have him at the Belmont if he was mine. I think he looks really good in this race, though. If you're trying to get a win, I think this makes a ton of sense to run him here. I think he looks tough in this one. I think he shows up with a big shot. The thing I like about him, he doesn't come from way out of it, but he's also not, up on the lead and has to have it by himself. He's just kind of stock / middle of the pack type. And really, I think no matter what the setup is, I think he usually is in pretty good shape. So Burnham Square looks pretty tough here. I like him a lot in this spot. Another horse I like a lot in this spot is the number 6 Coal Battle. Now, this is one that I totally understand why they chose the Matt Winn. When he stretched out past a mile and 16th, he did not run all that well in the Arkansas Derby where he got 3rd. And he wasn't great in the Kentucky Derby either, and he got 11th. We're cutting back now to the distance where this horse has been really, really good, and he won the Rebel Stakes at it 3 races back. So I like the move here. I think this makes a lot of sense to cut him back to a mile and 16th. That's a nice entry. I think he'll be pretty tough in this spot. I think he's going to run a much better race. I think he's a primetime contender in this one. I think we're going to get ready to kind of see who he is, right? Because he did take advantage of some fields at Oaklawn that, let's just say, they were questionable. And then he lost a couple of races, but did he lose because they stretched out, or was it the competition? I think we're going to really see it because they're like, look, there's some good horses here. They're the Bluegrass winners here. The Bluegrass runner-up is also here. We're going to talk about in just a second. The 4th place finisher in the Kentucky Derby is here in Final Gambit. This is a tougher field than what he faced in the Rebel and the Smarty Jones and the Remington Park Springboard Miles. So I think this will be a good barometer of, okay, now we're back to this we know he's good at. Is he good enough to beat better horses? And I think this is where we're going to kind of get that answer. But look, I think he's in with a shot for sure because, said, going this distance, he's been very effective. Okay, then finally, we kind of alluded to it, the number 7 East Avenue. Another horse I just scratch my head why this horse is not in the Kentucky Derby. Not in the Belmont Stakes. If I could speak correctly there, I don't know. So a couple of things. If the horse points to the Belmont Stakes, they send him to the lead. Well, he's owned by Godolphin. Sovereign is owned by Godolphin. Saratoga sometimes can play to speed, so you might need more pace than usual for closers to really do all that well there going long. I would think he would be a big help. And even if, say, he got loose on the lead, he might be tough to catch and they could win it that way as well. But anyway, I'm going to quit yakking and just handicap this race because that's what this video is about. He was just flawless as a 2-year-old. I loved everything he did as a 2-year-old until he got to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and it was a disaster. And it's been a disaster ever since, except for one race. So the phasing Tipton Risen Star came back as a 3-year-old, no excuse, got beaten that day. Did run a very better, I would say, second in the Bluegrass 2 races back. And that was a race you could build on for sure. Ran 8th in the Kentucky Derby after chasing the pace. That wasn't awful. I thought he was okay in that compared to like my expectation level for him. Now we're in a spot where I think it's kind of a now or never situation for him at the graded stakes level because it's a short field. He should get the lead. It's a mile and a 16th. That's where we really saw him run his best. Who's going to pressure him up front? I'm not sure there is one, right? Gaming, maybe, but he's really not that type of horse. Final Gambit, no. Chunk of Gold, no. I mean, just a fair shake. I don't think so. Burnham Square, Coal Battle, we know they're not. It feels like a gate to wire win here for East Avenue. So I think if he can run that bluegrass race, I think he's going to win it, because you remember the bluegrass, if that was a mile and a 16th race, he would have won. He got caught right at the wire by Burnham Square. So all that being said, that's the field. I think it's a rematch squarely of the bluegrass between the 5 Burnham Square and the East Avenue. I'm going to go East Avenue to turn the tables here. I like the pace setup. I like him at this distance. I think it's now or never. And how about this? Luis Saez is here to ride East Avenue. So I think that's a good sign as well that Luis Saez is aboard. So give me the number 7 East Avenue to hold off all the challengers and win this year's running of the Matt Winn Stakes. All right, guys, that'll do it for this preview. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, enjoy the great weekend and good luck if you're playing Churchill Downs on Sunday.